Kyo sa yin bege chu yin me Nide jembo de san yin Do kui nam da kin she bar Yo san guru re na mandala Ne ya da ya me sang je che dan do je jo na na Chan jo ba da da ne sha su Dāgī chūchū nyebē sōnam jē rō bēshē sāngyē rō bār Kyō sāngā jē chū dāng sāngyē chōnā nāi sāngyō bār dō dāne sāsū jē Dāgī chūchū nyebē sōnam jē rō bēshē sāngyē rō bār Kyō sāngā jē chū dāng sāngyē chōnā nāi sāngyō bār dō dāne sāsū jē Dāgī chūchū nyebē Sonam je lolo pensha sanje ro barisho. Ona samajana gitada nyambe singe tamji je tendo. Toja lana me bayanda ba zobe sanje kumbaram ba yene je tobre shagu. Te dobre shagu chedo tambe chörum ba je senyambe kono sanje je sempi se sembe gone sembre kyo.
We must all strive to accomplish complete enlightened state for the sake of liberating infinite, kind, mother sentient beings. And for that reason, we should cultivate the altruistic motivation or bodhicitta motivation. And with that kind of motivation, we should participate in this teaching. I believe that all of us are seeking freedom from suffering for good and lasting peace and happiness. In order to bring about the fulfillment of our wishes, which basically, as I just said, we want to be free from all kinds of suffering and the causes of suffering for good, and we want to find the highest level of peace and happiness. To fulfill all these wishes of ours, we need to engage in the abandonment of the things which need to be abandoned. We call the objects of abandonment, pangja in Tibetan. There are a lot of things we need to get rid of, abandon. And then a lot of things that we need to cultivate and we need to accomplish, which we call things to be obtained or things to be attained. So to be able to do such things, which basically involves actions and practices, it is of utmost importance to find a very suitable life basis, the best kind of life, if you will, in samsara, that enables us to be able to get rid of all the things we need to abandon and to realize or accomplish all the things we need to accomplish. But fortunately, we all have this wonderful, fully endowed human form, or we simply call precious human life, that is characterized by freedoms and enriching factors.
give it for that Pejishava Mato, that may give you really that. I think you need society and about the petitioner, the Pambo is canaveris.
Great masters have said that having found this kind of wonderful human life, now what we really need to think about is how best can we use this life to, as we would say, derive essence of fulfilled meaning, great meaning of life. And the way to do that is to use our life to do all that is positive and wholesome, or engage in positive actions, and to see that we don't use our life to get involved in doing the wrong thing or negativities. If we do find ourselves really getting involved in negativities, then we are wasting this wonderful human life, and that would be a great loss, according to what the great masters have got to say.
Then I say, go do any keating and song of us. There's any sage and any Rambuchi that Mandata Mambuchi tried Germany. Then Negapeta, Rintan Kembachi. You have been at that day any Papa Tanya, the any pay chocolate and it looks like the Shavina. And the meeting picked up Karasota. Kurapambo which was. Then I garage of the million budget toy or that they gave it show Madame was making show the pendles in that picture at Tambina and that in like Chagris Canando was.
Great Indian Buddhist sage and philosopher Arya Nagarjuna, in his letter to a friend called Shrulik, or Sharing in Tibetan, said and gave this very beautiful example, which is that should someone own a refined gold container or a pot, so it's not only the container or the pot is made out of a refined gold, I mean, just imagine how materially valuable that is, but it's also studded with the most precious stones, so this is the most magnificent container one could have. But if the owner or the person used the pot to fill in filth in it or remove filth, and how unbecoming it is for the person, and what would others say about his or her behavior, So in this, so in the same way, having found this wonderful, fully endowed human life or a form, if we, instead of using it to do positive things, and if we find ourselves indulged in negativities, then we have made ourselves very unbecoming, of having this precious human life. So as beginners in spiritual practice, one of the things that we should consider at first, so to speak, that we should really focus on, is we have to look at our own mind, and we need to protect our mind. That's very important for us, especially to pay attention to as beginner practitioners. I think it's important for us to understand what are the good reasons why we need to protect our mind, especially as practitioners at a beginner's level. One of the really good reasons is all our actions of body, speech, and mind. Those are the three types of actions we can perform. They are all, motivated by, or as if come out of what is going on inside our mind. So mind is the forerunner of all our actions, physical and verbal. So as we talk about doing positive actions or the wholesome actions, good karmas, not doing the negative actions or the unwholesome or the bad karmas, all these things we are talking about that we think we should do, and is all related to our mind. It all comes from our mind, doing the positive thing or doing the negative thing.
That the country is an pena rang same thing and Yongu Tani rang Luta Mani Bote rang same yes doguaris.
So where it all began, so to speak, is inside our mind. Whatever the mind kind of says, so to speak, our body and speech follow, so to speak, the orders given by the mind.
Rang same day give a shol chimbina, and a ranke Luta Mani Botia, and a give a shol Yamdesho Yuni, give a less agres.
So now if our mind is in a positive state, is in a wholesome state, then it's very likely that our actions of the body and speech will accordingly become positive. So that's how we have positive actions of body, speech, and mind. On the other hand, if our mind is in a negative state, then it's very likely that we do something negative physically and verbally. So that's how our actions of body, speech, and mind all become negative.
So the rank same that gives you the Rangil and Taban of Chiana, and the Sanjay the Chota Gendu that time the Dig David Tabachiana, that Luigi Sajaja, the Luigi Kuhiv Shebata, the King Hake and it beta, the answer Taba Pueta, the running that Zunga Tambas with that and Dig Shawati, you had the current Zawe and the same Tabachin, same Teletani, same Javulis Sony, the Jess Lutan with the Jess and Dani, and the shot Sevata and Tabapia, that the Dig Nag Tabapia. Let me
give you an example of how a positive state of mind can influence our actions of body and speech. Let's say we are generating faith or trust in the three jewels, Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. So we're experiencing that moment. We have faith in the three jewels. So as a result of this state of mind, which is a positive state of mind, that we may find ourselves doing prostrations physically to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. Like that's a physical action. And maybe verbally we find ourselves saying prayers, chanting prayers, or reciting mantras, or saying praises to Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. So now you can see how when a mind is in a positive state, such as we have faith in the three jewels, we find ourselves physically also doing something positive, such as doing prostrations to them, and also verbally reciting prayers or mantras or the praises to honor the three jewels.
That is the main when I rank semte document of rate give it all nene. And
of course, this is just one single example, but even in a general sense, if our mind is kind of a positive state, then we are likely to respect others, when we see them. We might physically even bow down or whatever, shake hand or whatever culturally appropriate things we do to show our respect to other people. And also when we speak to them, communicate to them, our communication would be very pleasant. We are not going to say the wrong thing and use improper words and languages.
That hana rang same the Megavi tapen corridor Sadian and then me yen rang Luke and Tatante, Luke Nanjutan do take tanguers. Kanya tape Tsubo that this tanguers. And there's a mind with Sutuna tell any pay don't now understand the country won't never must be so watching in a Katsisia Kawichang to us. The current is rang same the country on the sons and then Mata Luta Mani with the Geshes down in it.
Now let's consider a negative state of mind. Let's say we are very angry or upset. And then what happens is when our mind is in the state of in a negative state like that, then we, even physically, our physical behaviors also reflect the negativity in the mind. Even if it means giving a kind of bad eye to someone, that comes out of a negative state of mind. Or that we speak to them, we use harsh, speech or the words, bad language. Even if our best friends are around us, we really can't smile. We show our attitude, So we got an attitude problem, all around us. So this is how, as you can see, when the mind is in a negative state such as anger, then our physical and verbal behaviors or the actions are also becoming negative accordingly.
Sensung Kachima Pena, Domba Sunkin, Megajabu Sum Sunkin, Rank Sem Takshin, Sem Sungus, Megivishol, Mromakibesheni, Givishol Koya, Tati Sunguharis.
So the point I'm making here is that protecting our minds, once our mind is a key here. Now this could be related to all kinds of practices we do. When we talk about observing our vows and commitments and ethics, intact. So let's say the basic ethics of abandoning 10 negative actions of body, speech, and mind. Again, protecting our mind is key to observing these ethics.
So that the chamber sonza rang selling about the taxation, Tawan, the nutrient of Tang do them and do ten, same Subatic, that rang the same taxation, sharashing it in those he is in yours. When I can need the Hinegom any. He is in it, that is same thing. He was he negotiated and same thing. He don't do it. They go. Just that Shingwata governing, but the government is exciting man. The Shingwata governing, but you go under the tongue, touching the he is in you. That thing ever done around so Namjini. I don't think Shona.
So what is involved in protecting our mind is really watching our mind and. We have to kind of look within our mind what is going around, investigating our mind, examining our mind, and whatever the language you want to use, So basically, we want to figure out what is going inside us. And so what we really do is maybe the larger part of the mind, if you will, is focused on something or is involved in doing something. But a part of the mind, we use it to look at itself. Okay? So this is called introspection practice. And when we talk about cultivating calm abiding or shamatha, mental tranquility, so how can we develop calm abiding is only if we can prevent laxity and excitement from arising in our mind. Jingyo in Tibetan, right? The dullness or the laxity, the mind sinks in, it's kind of becoming dumb and dull. Or then the excitement, all these things happening in the mind, and agitation. So we need to prevent those things to be able to develop the stability of the mind. And as we try to do that, in cultivating calm abiding, the larger part of the mind is trying to focus single-pointedly on our focus, whatever the focus is. But the part of the mind we call introspection is watching whether laxity and excitement, either or both are disrupting, our meditation. Okay, it's the same thing. Those are the techniques that we use, if we could, in everyday life, to look at our mind and to protect our mind. That would be very beneficial and important thing to do.
Then Dorna, the tension any rang empty. Sungditsani, Megivishwal dog, the Givishwal dog, the Tachi.
So to put it simply, we look at our mind and then we say, okay, I'm looking at is my mind, thinking something negative, or is going into something to do negativity, or is it thinking about something positive, or is getting, in a positive direction? That's basically what we're talking about here.
Megishwal do the Taya Tachi Ranga and me yield never shake some tongues in Mutar. Never shake a tongue dona, Megishwal do. Pember Dre tongue, Givishwal do. Talila was intended.
So then if you're kind of thinking like, what is really negativity and positive thing that we are talking about, and this seems to be like a little above our head at this stage, But at least we should see that, is my mind thinking of, doing something harm or hurt others? If that's what's happening, then that is a negativity. We recognize it. If our mind is thinking about, sort of wishing others to be happy, wanting to benefit others, that is a positive state of mind.
So that condition any then do the thing you can teach in around the same taxation give you should make you give me give you dog in paka give you dog that the only compare sometimes.
So we can look at it from all these different perspectives, from the Sutrayana perspective or from the perspective of the commentary treatises on the sutras, whatever the case may be. So what we are basically trying to do is see that our mind is not thinking something negative, it's not going to follow some negative actions. That's what we try to prevent and stop and purify off our mind of that. And then if our mind is thinking something positive, we try to enhance that positive state of mind. We want to nurture it, we want to cultivate it and enhance it further.
That yin never says any condition as some that can cancer giving do. That never says sometimes the rank same time luta ma the any yin pe yin that never see that yin never saw that sometimes yin never see that yin never see that is sometimes.
So as we watch our mind and try to find out whether our mind is in a negative state, as I said earlier, means to find out whether our mind is thinking about negative thoughts for others. We want, wishing others to be unhappy or, have all kinds of things go wrong with them or wanting to really hurt them or, so that's what we're talking about. If the mind is thinking something negative, wanting to harm others, wishing others to be in a harmful state, and then also maybe thinking about how, we can bring the harm to others physically or verbally, then we can see that our actions of body, speech, and mind, all of them are really not good. They are, negative.
Rang tapkeshi with duration, Rang luta is but give us one dog, make us to touch shares. Make him touch shares, so that the Yamar.
So this is a time that all of us should keep in our mind. It is a time for us to do self-examination and look at our own state of mind. What am I thinking? What am I doing physically and verbally? Am I doing something beneficial to others? Am I doing something harmful to others? Okay, that is our responsibility in practice. It is not our responsibility, and to put it straight, none of our business to find out whether others are doing it or not. That is their problem, so to speak. Geshe didn't say that. I'm speaking in American language. That's their problem, so don't get involved in that. It's just, they have to do that themselves, and we have to do it ourselves. So basically I feel what I'm sharing here, as I always say, as much as I'm speaking to you, I'm also speaking to myself. I put myself in the audience. It's not like I'm telling you what to do as if I can excuse myself of all the things I'm saying here. We all need to do that, in our everyday life, that we watch our mind, we introspect our mind, and we need to direct our mind into positive things and prevent it from thinking the negative things.
Kali Kabore and Yajiamaris. Until Kashis and our Tatina Kali Kabore. Tanda to some Marisa, you said about it in some Giamaris.
And we must not, give in to the thinking that, some people think, oh my God, this is all kind of a complicated and difficult thing, I can't manage it now. Maybe it's down the lines, later time I will do it. No, they, don't push it there. Don't procrastinate it to some other time. So if we catch ourselves doing that, what, it's really difficult, I can't do it now, but I'll do it down someday, maybe tomorrow or later or something, we have to recognize this is a form of laziness. It's called laziness or procrastination. And now we are going to return to where we left off in this wonderful text called a miscellaneous collection of Kadampa Geshe's personal advices. Just to recapitulate what we did last week, one of the great Kadampa Geshes by the name of Geshe Tsultim in his public discourse, not addressed to any particular person, but it's a public discourse, he said that we could bring spirituality into two types of action, which is important to do. One is don't harm others, and the other is help others. And you know that His Holiness the Dalai Lama, every now and then in his public discourses remind us of these, these two things, that if we could help others and benefit others, do that. But even if we cannot benefit others or help others, at least we should see that we do not harm them. So basically, this is what we are talking about at this point, that we want to watch our mind, introspect our mind, find out whether we are thinking something positive or negative, and then if we are thinking something negative, stop it, and if doing something positive, just nurture it and enhance it further, and then see if we can help others, do it. If we can't help it, at least don't harm others. So when we put it simply in that way, as Geshe Tsultim did, we can bring all the teachings of Buddha in some sense into these two things. Do not harm others, but help others, right? Now that might sound like a very simple statement, but we must not lose the profundity of the message in these simple words and languages. As a matter of fact, all the contents of the Buddha's teachings, which are basically brought within the three baskets of teachings, for lack of better words in English, Tripitakas in Sanskrit. And the subject matters of the Tripitakas are, the three higher trainings. So the essence of the three higher trainings are contained within these two things. Help others, don't harm them.
When never say the Shavina, that the any Yumi be one get laying up a sign girls, laying up a Santa call coin girls, says a thing is any that Yen never machine, and they run call a choir that duty matters.
So if we kind of take time to analyze it a little bit, further, then we can, I think, see it more clearly that, usually when we harm others, it's basically due to delusions, deluded states of mind, right? The delusions, motivate us. Delusions motivate us into doing something negative, which is the bad karma. So when we do the bad karma, the result is bad, which basically means we get stuck in samsara, which we don't want to. Okay, and so delusion plus the bad karmas equal to samsara, and which we don't want to be in, and so that's why harming others is all part of this, great equation, to be in samsara. Okay.
We never should be the pump and they call a quiet that 거의 저다 녀모 봐 당시만 마리발라 소배네 녀모 제리게 던져 빵고야래 아니 다 얘는 펜타바이나 아니 니 샤바다 니 곰네 대왕가 장주 서는 버저는 이셔바시 대왕가 때 람코마도 줄이 시네 산지 컴바토였다 용고여레스.
So in a simple statement like that, do not harm others, there's so much in it. If you look very deeply, basically harming others, as I just said, it comes out of our deluded states of mind, And then there are tons of delusions, as we would say, 84,000 to be exact number, right? If somebody is keeping track of statistics. So 84,000 delusions in each of us, okay? That's not we share all together a big number. Each of us has got 84,000 delusions. And so they motivate us, instigate us to engage in negative actions which produce all the kind of negative outcomes in samsara. And if you don't want that, if you want to break this cycle, so to speak, then we have to stop harming others. Okay, that's the advice Geshe Tsultim is giving us. But on the other hand, if we cultivate positive states of mind such as great love, Mahametri, great compassion, Mahakaruna, Bodhicitta, and then there are other higher levels of realization. If we cultivate all these positive qualities, inner qualities, then we find ourselves advancing to Buddhahood and complete enlightened state. Okay, now this is the formula to get out of samsara and to find a complete enlightened state, which all comes from, again, benefiting others. So the seemingly simple advice, I would put it that way, Geshe Tsultim gives us, if we could help others, do that. If we can't help others, don't harm them at least. To be able to do those things, one of the things that we really need is we need to cultivate the patience or tolerance. So now one could ask, what is the relevance of patience here, right? If I don't, harm others, if I try to help others, where does the really patience comes here? Where it really comes is that, when other people inflict problems on us or suffering, if we don't have patience, we are going to retaliate against them. Now that is a negativity. So when we learn about the patience and cultivate patience, what we are telling ourselves is, should someone harm me, really it makes no sense for me to return the harm to the other person, retaliate against that other person. This is all just meaningless thing to do.
So when we learn about
great Indian Buddhist sage and philosopher Acharya Chandrakirti, in his supplement to the middle way of Madhyamik Avatar states, again Geshe quoted the stanza from his memory, and really he gives us a very persuasive, argument here about should someone harm us, and if we return the harm to that person, would that really help us to not experience the harm that has already been inflicted on us? What does that do by harming others? Now, does that some kind of nullify what we already experienced? Somebody already, caused a headache to us. Does that kind of, make what we already experienced go away? It really doesn't do that.
never lock miss. That the dishabin and the round never shaver they map dogomare at they jardin pay yanni and that those in the control Jim Ship young race canon.
So the point that's being made is, if we retaliate against someone who harms us, that's really not going to make any difference to whatever the pain we already experienced that was inflicted on us. Okay? But it's worse than that. Now we bring harm to them, we are perpetuating this cycle of negativity, So now just because of this, going back and forth, other delusions pop up, especially anger. And so we are creating and intensifying the negativity, and which will bring again, more negative outcomes.
That in this shabin, I mean, then the Zerba Magombashi Shabin, and the controlling that doity, part doity, Kali Kabut was Lila Mendoas, the things and the Zerba Congress can. They met a pendo.
So, if we don't cultivate patience, but keep on retailing against those who harm us, then what is, as we said, we are, perpetuating this cycle of negativity, and which feeds into generating anger more. And so then we are also undermining our own simple principle, which is like, do not harm others. We are, not doing that.
Then that's something yen a pen dobala around the Zerba Gugres. Ying never seen that paint died Jim Makibashin Pentani. That Zerba Gomni. Pendo Shagres, the Matuna, Job Magona, Yen Pendo the Corporation.
So to be able to work for others and benefit others, we do need to cultivate patience. Without patience, it's very difficult to benefit others.
That dinner is to go temple of Zerbagus, rang the true Duguris, true Dugu, true do it, and to go temple Gugers, but true Dubney. That the part Tarshimbaji, don't go to Tarshimbaji Googers. The Zaba Mena, Tarshin Commerce, so Tarshimbala Zaba Gomgres.
And as spiritual practitioner, our goal is to be able to succeed in what we practice and bring the practice to the state of completion, right? We want to complete our practice. To be able to do that, we really need patience, or tolerance, as we say, Seba. Without patience or the tolerance, Seba, it's very difficult to succeed in what our practice and to fulfill our practice.
That's Zerba Congress, that's Zerba Gomdan that Gonda Mandachi, those years, Kananta, my remaining.
So here the emphasis is on cultivating patience, Zerba Gom, meditate on patience. I think the better way to say is cultivate it. What does meditate on mean? We need to cultivate patience, and there are many ways to do that. And I think in this text, the great master talks 4 different ways.
Karesana Dali Tambuti Dalim Benzu Chase, Tsujigon Vase. Bena, and Dandusi the coat, some Bain Poem Gorva.
No.
The Dina Yishene. And they rank any never that lessons the Zebati Pakaya, the consumer with the Zabagongur.
Yes. And one of the ways to cultivate patience is, it is like we set up ourselves like a target. We think like a metaphorical sense. The people who are in archery contest or something, their aim is to shoot that arrow right into the target. So here it is as if we have set up ourselves as a target, and people are shooting at you. All the nasty things. So this is where we need to put on the armor of patience so that we can stand as a good target. Okay.
Control line rang Zervin Bain Zervin Zubina. I think that younger was control that younger race can.
But being a target also has a sense that, we have certain responsibility, or how to say, in what other people are doing to us. Okay? It's because of maybe our own delusions and actions that people are reacting to us. So in this case, we are also responsible for setting up this target before others, and so now they are shooting at us.
Yeg Ralpene. You never say many chefs any. The chef in the time, so see, in that control Sagway, being the rank superbus. So see, me Yiger never get shame any. Right, the chefs. The card again, the chef in that yin control long way, being the rank superbus.
Oh, I see. I guess trying to kind of, clarify a point. For example, say, this other person, whoever he or she or they are, has really not done anything to us. But if we accuse the person for harming us, right, accusation is a bad thing, right? Now we set up the target, this person will go nuts about that, right? The false accusation and going to shoot at us.
Ladies understanding those. So the co-condusan never see a lady rank some men, could think I never see too much. So that rank bente, late son and ben later on size and
so from karmic point of view, we ourselves have created or maybe are creating a lot of karmas, which are like almost like a setting up the target, and that's why other peoples are reacting to us and and harming us. But in the first place, theoretically speaking and karmically speaking, if we ourselves don't do anything bad to others, don't do anything negative, then there's no way others can harm us. There is no target, so to speak, for them to, hurl all the negativities at.
So the little person, rank again, never control never like a machine, and control yen and yen control that around Umar was that. I think little person.
So if you don't upset or make somebody mad and crazy, I think there's no point that the other person has a reason to go mad and nut with us, nuts about us. So that's one way to practice or cultivate patience. Now another way or approach to cultivate patience or tolerance is from the point of view of what we call love and compassion.
Oh, that's it. There, when I read, any theory that he and that say, any round never showing round ship. Let that thing I didn't. My dinner, let the lame go do. Never machine and the machine the tambote. Let the language. Maybe such a good magic passing in a man. Darling, then Zeba Gontantel early, Darling Benzuchi to Gombas diction.
No. First, maybe we should just kind of highlight the 4 different ways to cultivate patience, and then, talk about each of them. Now, the first one is called, metaphorically speaking, Dalim Benzo. Da is the arrow, and Ben is the target. So this is, that kind of a metaphor we use, that if we don't set up the target, nobody's going to shoot the arrow of negativities at us. Okay? So with that kind of understanding, we could cultivate patience, as we talked about it already. Now, the second one is, second approach is cultivating patience, from the point of view of love and compassion. Yes. And the third approach is, cultivating patience, thinking in terms of teacher-student relationship. Okay, maybe guru-disciple relationship. Maybe you like that better. And the fourth approach is cultivating patience in terms of understanding what is there in the nature of things, so to speak. What is the reality, so to speak? No. No. So the first one we already talked about is if we do not set up the target, there's no way other can shoot arrow. Even if they do, it's not going to hit the target. It will go somewhere. Okay. So because there's that relationship, if arrow needs to hit the target, there has to be target. Now, who is setting up the target? Maybe we are setting up the target and we're getting hit. Okay? That's one way of understanding the relationship here between others' actions and ourselves and cultivate patience. So relating to that is, as we talked about, we have created the karmas, due to which others are harming us. Okay, so now maybe we might think like, in this lifetime I didn't really do anything bad, so why is all this thing happening? But we really have to look a little beyond that and think in terms of many lifetimes before where we did harm others and did a lot of negativities. So our previous negative karmic actions are, in a sense, setting up the target now, and that's why others are shooting their arrows of negativity at us. So what is being done to us by the others, the harmful things, is the outcome or the result of what we did to others in the negativities in the past. So one of the really things that we should really watch out is do not get angry with others, because anger is a very destructive negative emotion, and we have a passage from great Bodhisattva Mahasattva Shantideva's A Guide to Bodhisattva's Way of Life. So what is being said by the great Bodhisattva Shantideva is that if we have not harmed others, if we do not harm others, others are not going to do that to us. So now we might think this way, I have never seen this person in my life, here. So how could I have done anything to him or her, right? I mean, it's possible, right? We might justify, right? How on the earth, whatever this person did to me, that I really haven't seen this, in my life. This is the first time, right? So we could, find justification for our getting angry or whatever, the reactions. And all those lines which contain the words of Bodhisattva Shantideva tell us is basically providing the answer for that kind of a dilemma or a justification we make. So, yeah, it could be true that in this lifetime you have never seen this person's face before. Okay? But the fact of the matter is that in many previous lifetimes, we or you did a lot of harms to other beings and people. So what you are experiencing now is the outcome of those negativities you or I or we did in our past lives. So that's the kind of understanding we should bring to cultivate patience.
That is a mazis kananduwa. There's a mazis. Tsin di rang duang se, tsin de ka rang pe se yang xia men hama zang dong ma res, tsin di zang dang na, ce dui le ane rang ge yin le ne ba xie pe ane len de ce me le yong res, yong duwa se.
And here Geshe Tsongkhapa says, if the life before is too far and too difficult to think about, don't have to go that far. Just think about this life, how things we do in the early part of our life, our actions have repercussions in the later part of our life. If we harmed others in the first part of our life, but in the second part of our life, others are, paying back.
Long hamala never shape land Lushimatling Yumata. Dawang hamala never shilling in Dawa Shamala Yumata. Jang hamala never shilling Shamala Yumata. At that I need to Yela as Zimbi Titan Shabang be. Ane Shabang be Benzuna. They get them to singing la sopa. That once that the nigga was.
So basically, we are going to try to go into as much detail as we can in terms of doing this kind of thing. You know what? So, what I did in the early part of my life, because of that, now I'm experiencing this kind of negativity from others. Okay? Or because of what I did last year, well, I thought, I got off. No, this year, somebody is paying back. Okay? Because of what I did last month, I thought I was free. Well, this month, somebody remembers and is doing it back, Or because of the last week, because of yesterday what I did, but today, I got it back. So we just go more into detail and try to understand the situation here. And if you kind of want to really sort of test this, so to speak, then we can say right here and now, right? We say something nasty, right, words to somebody, we'll just get the reaction back. It doesn't take time. What it really means to harm others.
Then as Tangi Rang, that Rang, me contraship to Tangi Rang and Ben Subala in showing some of the time. But they nearly the Rang never ship at the any crowd and Shumar Sons of my shoes. That the Rang ship later on Shumar Sons of Shini. So
I think the key point here is, we are not putting the blame on the other person because he or she or they are the ones who are shooting the arrows at us. But the key thing to cultivate patience is we are saying, okay, I have certain, roles I played in this whole thing. I have set up the target because of my own negativities, karmas I did in the past, or because of my delusions. So therefore, it is understandable. When I set up the target, people are going to do the practice, shooting practice here, right? So we just kind of take the blames, if you like, to put it that way, upon ourselves, and then that understanding helps us to cultivate patience. Yes. And in our society we know how even this few words could make a big impact and difference. Like some people even they are telling the truth, so to speak, but that really upsets other people so much. So basically what we are saying is, when others are reacting negatively to us or doing something harmful to us, we should not retaliate against them, but try to stay cool. I think that's maybe today's language for patience, right? Be cool. Stay cool. So we're basically taking we're giving if you will, the victory and the gain to the other. We're taking the defeat and the loss upon ourselves by saying that, I am responsible for what he or she is doing to me. I set up the target. I said the bad thing before. I did the bad karma. I did the delusional thing. Okay, I do get it now. It's not because of them, it's because of me. And then we take the blame and the defeat and the loss to ourselves and give the victory and the benefits and the goodies to others. Another way to cultivate patience, as we mentioned earlier, is from the point of view of love and compassion. Now, this is an example given here is when a crazy person, really does something bad to us, right? We usually understand the situation, don't we, right? We are not going to go mad and really angry with a crazy person because of, whatever this predicament he or she is dealing with. We understand crazy people do crazy things, and we understand and we don't retaliate against the person, because we have more compassion for understanding his or her situation, and then we can cultivate patience. So here, this approach to cultivate patience is trying to understand the predicament and the situation of the other person who is harming us, right? We try to separate the person from his or her delusions and the craziness, okay? And we say that it's not because so much the person is dying to harm me or really kind of at a will or power making decision, I want to harm this person, but basically he or she is gone crazy with the delusional thinking. Now the delusions are influencing the person to behave the way he or she is behaving. So who is to be blamed? His or her delusions, not the person. We separate the person from his or her deluded way of thinking, and then we develop compassion, love for the person with that understanding and cultivate patience. So then, what we were giggling over was like, the master is going to talk about different types of craziness, crazy people. It's not just one kind or homogeneous group, there are different levels of craziness. And maybe some people are gone crazy because some invisible beings are influencing them. It could be the negative spirits or some demonic forces or whatever the, things happening with their life, or maybe the nagas are so mad with them. The serpents, or what Geshe would like to call mermaids, got mad with them. And so in which case we understand, well, this is a very temporary thing. Maybe the person has gone crazy for a few months or a short period of time. So when the nagas let go, that person, or when the evil spirits say, okay, I will let you go now, then he or she will be fine. Okay? So we understand that. But we as ordinary sentient beings are really, in some sense, metaphorically speaking, a worst form of crazy people. No, because of all these delusions and negative karmic actions we create from beginningless time until now, honestly, if we look at ourselves from that point of view, it is kind of a really sad picture, that we are carrying so much baggage for such a long time, and we do so many crazy things because of our delusions and negative karmic actions. So when that is the case, the one who is harming us is an equally deluded sentient being, gone crazy of the worst kind for such a long period of time. What can we really expect? From the person, some nice things? Well, not really. Okay, so crazy person will do crazy thing, and we have to understand that, and we, develop compassion and love for the agents. So the main point is that we try to understand the situation, we separate the people from their delusions, and then we understand the people, we attack the delusions and we blame them, and then we cultivate love and compassion for the people, not for the delusions, and we cultivate patience. And now we have a passage to illustrate this whole thing from Shantideva's work.
That is on the Kate Nemo Wang Jervis, Kate Stark Mukangi Kari, Yomi Bond the Chinese, and a Dadu Nichan, Sui Shenas, Dadu Nichan, Sui Shenas, that Ranga Lepena, then they Ranga Diva Migi lay sab in the Ranga and pay never so like Chag was.
Now here the Shantideva is telling us that when we see, as people get really delusional in a spiritual, deluded thinking, they even go to the extent of destroying themselves. That being the case, right, of course we understand they would do crazy things to other people.
So they say,
So if somebody can go to the extent of destroying himself or herself, now how can we expect this person to be nice and kind and beneficial to other people? Of course, they wouldn't care a thing to harm others because they don't care about themselves either. Okay? And when we look at this whole situation more carefully, what we really see is all kinds of delusions and negativities we do, it is really self-destructive. It's almost like we are killing ourselves. So when we can do that to ourselves, what can we expect from other deluded people? So thinking in all those different ways, then we try to understand the situation, cultivate love and compassion for the people, and stay cool.
Java Gondisan, Homatang, Flovi should go to that condition. Those Pena Lava movie Cambo Mena, Domba Miss. When the Domba Jenki Mena, Domba Young Maris, Domba Tenki Mena, Lava Cambo Mena, Domba Lea Yomari. Church Love Mena, and then Hijiam, that church King Love Mena, and then Rangle Church and that he took Mariscana. The Yindos. Never see with Dramena, Zoba maybe, Zoba going yamas, and then Yin Dala, Hubala Soba Kandi Shavina, Titi, Zoba Gongres.
So that's
the Rita, Zoba Goni, and they never sing it that round, give him by some Congress, round Zoba Goniaco, pen talking that give him by some Congress.
Now let's talk about how to cultivate patience. Thinking in terms of guru-disciple relationship or teacher-student relationship, and how does that work here? Examples given here is, let's say in the case of someone who wants to take monastic ordination, there has to be what we call an abbot, who can conduct the ceremony and give you the ordination. If there's no such abbot, who can do that, preceptor, then there's no way to get the ordination. Okay? So abbot plays a central role for getting the ordination, getting ordained. Or in the case of getting spiritual education or the Dharma teachings, there has to be qualified teacher. If you don't have qualified teachers, there is no teaching, right? So that's central to the spiritual education. In the same way, we try to understand here, if there are no harmful agents and people, then how can we really practice patience or tolerance? They are the teachers of patience. Okay, they give us the opportunities to cultivate patience. So without them, it is like we have no Dharma teacher, no teaching. Without them, there is no spiritual abbot, no ordination. So without the enemies, there's no opportunity to practice patience.
Honest. That day, Heber Shelas, Loving the Hebershan. Della Gawat and Tindus of Gonki, Dalla Zuberlin, Betloma, Gomna. That Ganji Ra Anita, Homa invite, Zaba Gonkin Sunsan, Rang Homashi. They're contrasting it, Rang Homing the Hijani. This is over the Kong.
So in this kind of a situation, we kind of, if you will, we see those who are harming us as if they were our gurus or the teachers, and we are their disciples or the students, So in this case, we are even grateful to them. We should be, because they are giving us the real opportunity to practice patience or tolerance. So in that sense, they are very kind. to us. Yes.
Honors. That change to that Trinity Jagomendo. Change to the Gombana, change to the Gomakarizana, the Tampranas, Dala never say Utah, and he Nuji Campbellton, never Nobotangi, Chingy Tombani in Las. At that Kanji, that never Shinkinta, never Shebata, and then Shiuta, Randa, Samalupe, that. When it turned Tambaras in the range to a Chinese Yomares, Cheta, Malam Tab, the Jamatabi, which is something.
Now, the fourth way to cultivate patience is, we said, thinking about what is there in the nature or the reality. And the word that's being used is called chunyi, means now we can now translate this ultimate reality or suchness or thatness. Now, what this really means is that when we look at all the things involved in what is being experienced, those who are harming us, call them harmful agents or actors, what is being done to us, harmful actions or the harm, and us who are experiencing the harm, the receivers of the harm, all of us, in an ultimate sense, do not exist objectively and in of ourselves. Everything is in the nature of emptiness, shunyata. Yeah? And so there's nothing to grasp at, because everything is in the nature of emptiness of inherent existence. And all phenomena are just like what we experience in the dream. They are just like a magical creation. There is no real substance in anything here. So with that kind of understanding of the nature, ultimate nature of things, we cultivate patience.
This one, Tatarji, Dala Govala Sopar, now and this, the Tamkis, Ransi Tubi, Chonchu Melam, Jumatabi Impes, that day, Juma in Sunga, Jumatabi, the Melam Tabs, telling about the Jaguar. And the Negasano Tani, and that, and that, Gil around never shiver tell pay, lane.
So here we are, thinking about the ultimate reality or the nature of phenomena, all things that exist. In this particular case, the harmful agents, the harm being produced, and we as receiver of the harm. We say that all of these things are just like a magical creation. The instrumental word is just like. We are not saying they are magical creation. Just like what we experience in the dream. It's like having a bad dream, actually. Okay? And there's really no true substance. And the reason we are having a bad dream here is because of our own grasping at things. Because this is exaggerating, right? Our grasping at a thing is creating all these delusional things where we grasp at these other people as a truly existent harmful agents, and what they do to us is truly justified, inherently existent harm produced, and we are the inherently existent receiver of the harms, and so now all things are going like, crazy things here. So basically it's all because of our own grasping at things and misconceptions. So when we understand that, the true nature of all things is empty of inherent existence. There's no true substance to anything. So with that kind of understanding, then we can stay cool.
That don't be true on a Tobaji churches, Toyatan, Shoryatan, Ani Gawata, Megalas of Tendi, Ani, Regan Grand never say what Ani Tendiga, the Tamalo, the Rangi Meva, Malam Nangis. Malam Ganana and the Daki Garan never shaving and the new citizen tell Koro Sacrifice. Sagmara was Kariasna, Kotel Rangi Meva songs and Tides. That is Samal Mason at Samalo, Rangij Juba Mason Mato, Shena, there was.
So basically, all the things, good and bad, we experience in our life, they are just like what we see in a dream, experience in a dream, just like watching a magic show. Okay? And so it is just like we're having one bad dream. Right? When having a bad dream, maybe it seems like all true, right? We are being hurt and, we get mad and all these things happen. But once we are awake, that was just a bad dream, right? Now we don't still get mad with the people in the dream harming us, do we, right? That was just kind of funny, silly thing what happened in the dream. So just like that, because of our own grasping at true existence of things, it's one bad dream we have. It feels like others are doing unjustified harm to us. We are the fully justified, humble receiver of these harms, And all of these things is happening to us, and that's why we get mad and, all things are going wrong. And so when we understand the true nature of things, we are not saying that conventionally there are no such things as people harming us, or there's no such thing as harmful actions, there's no such things as receiving harm. Conventionally, all these things exist. Okay, so don't get us wrong. But in an ultimate sense, there is no substance to all these things, meaning that there is no inherent substance we are attributing to all these things and grasping at all these things. No such things exist. So with that kind of understanding, we can, cultivate patience.
Legalize the Mokiba Kikani, Senakon Kibipe, Singamba, Tahana Yik, and Tahana Yikita, do the Juwalas, the naked Dunshin Saviana, Sang to the Sunday and the quarter of the way.
When is going to go again?
Amen. Send that Malan.
Almilam, no. Just think about this, You have one bad dream. Somehow, one of your co-workers is just,
your friend, is it?
And co-worker friend. Okay, let's add the friend to the co-worker. So I don't know why the friend would beat you up, but anyway. So in your dream, your co-worker friend is going nuts and beating you like hell, and saying all the nasty things in the world and accusing of all those things. And you have one bad dream. But tomorrow, when you go to the work and see your friend, right? Are you still going to be mad with the person, right?
No.
So tomorrow you are just fine, right? You might even just have quite a sense of humor about this thing. So that's how we practice, tolerance, understanding the nature of things.
I
think that's a good, place to stop for today. And today is an amazing day. The list is going on. Oh, that's an announcement actually. All right, so first I will do the prayer request and then do the announcement. A lot of prayers have been requested for people who are no more with us. And Michael in Sikkim, Huntington Bucky Block. Is that a real name? Anyway, Mark Cameron Majestic, Wayne Roundtree, Joseph Frantom, Edward, Pam Tan Dean, Richard Fred. Prayers have been requested for good rebirths for them. Those who are dealing with health issues, Daniel Wong, Florence and Richard Graving, Tori Mudd, Guy Waldron. Prayers for recovery from their health issues. And an announcement. Tomorrow is the 10th March Uprising, Tibetan, and I think Tibetan Association of the Southern California has organized a protest or demonstration at 2 p.m. Along with the Students for Free Tibet. You can visit the website, or for details, go to the website. I think I heard that they're going to do a protest near the Chinese consulate or something, but don't take my words, just check the details so that you don't blame on me,
No, that's a
No.
On that nigga and I thinking that I'm not in that mango in the wash. And the summer of pay and it thinking in a then returns on Toyota. Dana is nothing to enjoy any. He is missing down your Madam Jen. And also any months doing is.
So thinking about the people for whom prayers have been requested for, and wishing those who have passed away, find good rebirths, and wishing those who are, dealing with health issues to recover soon from their, health predicaments. We generate positive thoughts and recite the 6-syllable mantra of compassion for them.
Chadong Goli Jave Jabuton, Shibu Baba Zambu Sanji, Kala Kandu Tela Dedabo, Sumba Shari Zala Shatselo, Omana Bime, 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 산지 템바로 부터 이런데 내 봤다. 자위 있는 그 죄배 딘지시브 담반은 축구세 샤베 템바다. 투지기 넣어서다 매매 현조 용한다. 아니 최종기지 쇼 보면은 지 춘디 샤원은 인선 던져 봤다. 이게 감되다 이게인데 문티비기 좋다다 괜히 ten신이 좋다다 매매 현조 용하셔.
Whatever merit we have accumulated together today, we dedicate it for the long life of His Holiness the Dalai Lama and all other holy masters. May they live long and be successful in fulfilling their visions, benefiting sentient beings. May Dharma, the source of benefit and happiness, flourishes throughout the universe. May spiritual practitioners from all different traditions remain healthy, harmonious, and be successful in fulfilling their spiritual aspirations. May these and other world environments be free of unwanted pains and problems, and everybody find peace, happiness, prosperity, and spirituality. In short, we dedicate our collective marriage for all kind mother sentient beings to be free from the fears and dangers of two types of mental obscuration, and may we all reach Buddhahood soon.
Guru